Алло. Вот, прям вот знаю, понял.
During the night, Russia's Volgograd region came under attack by unidentified drones. In particular, the UAVs flew toward 2 railway stations, the region's governor Andrei Bocharov reports. In his statement, Bocharov claims that air defense forces allegedly repelled the drone attack and that there were no casualties. However, damage was not avoided, as 2 railway stations were under attack. At the Surovikino railway station, a fire broke out in the administrative building, which is being promptly extinguished by firefighting services. At the Maxim Gorky railway station, sappers are currently working with fragments of the destroyed UAV. There is no damage to facilities, said Bocharov. The region's governor also added that railway traffic is allegedly operating as usual. Reports of the unidentified drone attack began to appear at around 1:30 a.m. local time. Later, Telegram channels clarified that the attack started around 1 o'clock a.m. At first, the sound of drones could be heard, followed by approximately 10 explosions. Then, after the alleged fall of debris from one of the drones, a fire broke out near the railway station in Surovikino. Meanwhile, footage of the fire began circulating on social media. Ukraine is targeting Russian railway hubs to disrupt military logistics, delay troop movements, and hinder ammunition supply lines, especially near border regions and occupied territories. The Russian army is still largely a paper-based institution, relying on vast quantities of paperwork for its administration. One particularly time-consuming task is producing handwritten combat logs, which then has to be typed out before being written out by hand again. A single officer in each battalion is responsible for all the paperwork. The Vault No. 8 Telegram channel highlights how combat logs are managed. Contemporary military historians will be interested to know that in the Rwandan Defense Army in 2022-2025, combat logs are still kept in handwritten form and duplicated in print. Yeah, what's the crux of the problem? Units are fighting and do not have time to enter into their combat logs the entire volume of lost property for writing off. Such is life. The results will be summarized after the end of hostilities. But the volumes, one for each month, have to be submitted constantly, and no corrections can be made to them. The result? After the war, the printed and especially handwritten versions of the combat logbooks will be checked again. Changes will be made to the electronic version, and the redundant volumes will be shredded and burned. A ton of paper just like that. And when they finish the electronic journals and print them out, the epic of writing the combat log volumes by hand, in fair copy, will begin. And none of the Rwandan military knows why they need to write the combat log by hand in 2025. Probably to make it look pretty? The Defense Intelligence of Ukraine, DIU, hit radar stations located in the protective domes on top of Ipetri and also shot down a landing boat with the occupiers. The footage of the operation was released by the DIU press service. The Phantom Special Unit used maritime unmanned drones to deliver attack drones to the southern coast of the Crimean Peninsula to attack the 3rd Radio Regiment of the Russian Armed Forces. Evading anti-aircraft missiles and a Russian fighter jet, the Ukrainian drones hit an enemy BK-16 landing craft and 3 radars: Nebo SVU radar, Podlet K1 radar, 96L6E radar. It is worth noting the knockout of Russian radars that were hidden in special radio-transparent domes that were erected in the south of the Crimean Peninsula in Soviet times. Such structures were designed to protect sensitive equipment from weathering. However, the scouts noted that the occupiers began to hide their radar stations in them after suffering serious losses from the actions of the Phantoms. After the occupation of Crimea, the Russian military began to modernize the Soviet military infrastructure, building additional radar domes in other parts of the peninsula. New facilities have appeared in several strategically important locations, including Cape Tarkankut, the Tepe Oba area near Feodosia, and near Kerch. They cover modern radars such as Nebo M, Kasta 2E2, Podlet, and others. Thus, the network of domes provides the necessary infrastructure for the operation of radars, which in turn provide radar coverage for air defense systems of the Southern Military District of the Russian Federation. Earlier, on July 19th, the Phantom Special Unit for the first time reported an operation to destroy Russian air defense elements outside the occupied peninsula, in the Donetsk region. The scouts destroyed S-300V air defense systems, which, in addition to providing cover from air threats, also provided missile defense. In addition, 3 48YA6K1 podlet radars designed to detect targets at low and extremely low altitudes were hit, as well as 2 Niobium SV medium and high-altitude air target detection radars that provide visibility at distances of 200 to 300 kilometers. Trump says there's a chance the war could end soon. After what he called good talks with Putin, he notes there's a strong possibility of a Putin-Zelensky meeting in the near future, though no breakthrough was reached today. Trump also mentioned potential new secondary sanctions, possible tariffs on China, and that his 12-day ultimatum to Russia is nearing its end.
President, have Putin and Zelensky agreed to a summit yet? I mean, where and when would that be?
Well, there's a very good prospect that they will, and we haven't determined where, but we had some very good talks with President Putin today, and there's a very good chance that we could be ending the end of that road. That road was long and continues to be long, but there's a good chance that there will be a meeting very soon.
It seems Russia is now more inclined toward a ceasefire, but the main thing is not to be deceived by them on the details, Zelensky said, adding a note of optimism after his call with Trump.
Mykola, it seems Russia is now more inclined towards a ceasefire. The pressure on them is working. But the main thing is that they don't deceive us in the details.
An armed incident took place at the Fort Stewart military base in Georgia, USA, with 5 servicemen injured. The suspect in the shooting was detained. According to the base's official Facebook page, the signal about the shooting at the 2nd Armored Brigade complex was received at 10:56 local time. Already at 11:04, an isolation regime was introduced on the territory of the facility. The security regime was partially lifted at 12:10, but the complex where the shooting took place remains closed. The attacker was detained at 11:35, which prevented further casualties. An ambulance arrived at the wounded at 11:09. Medics provided first aid on the spot, after which the victims were evacuated to a military hospital for further treatment. The command reported that all 5 soldiers received the necessary medical care and their condition is stable. There is currently no active threat to personnel or civilians. U.S. President Donald Trump was promptly informed of the incident. This was reported by White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. The White House is closely monitoring the situation, she said.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comments section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.